the witch wound and how to overcome it to be more visible. And if you have gotten flack for your intuitive abilities, your spiritual gifts, being a witch, just even picking up on things like psychically or any of this kind of thing, you will want to watch this video because it will help you realize that you don't need to spend your life in the broom closet because, number one, that is not helping you get clients for your business, especially when you are selling, helping people develop these gifts or utilizing your gifts to help people. So I really want to dive into this one because I know it's a big one. So I've been where you are, actually worse. I grew up in Ohio, and that's really like super embarrassing because Ohio is kind of like the joke with Gen Alpha now. But, you know, very Catholic, very socially conservative, you know, all of the things. And I thought that the best way to deal with these kinds of things was just shut up about it, like, don't talk about it, hide in the broom closet, like, try to pretend, like, to be like what I thought everyone else was like, and just not discuss it with people, and especially not discuss it with people who I knew in real life and all of this stuff. But I was in a toxic relationship, and he isolated me from a lot of people, and it was very toxic. It was awful. We've been divorced for like a couple years now, but going through that experience made me realize how important it is to put yourself out there and to help other people so that they don't feel so alone, and so that they don't spend time hiding their gifts and hiding in toxic relationships, because that's not serving others. So I do have a couple tips to help with this. The first tip is, obviously, this is your social media profile. If you get trolls, you can unfriend, you can block. And the other thing is, like, pay attention to the groups that you're joining and the people that you're friending. So certain groups might have a high percentage of trolls. You don't have to be in those groups. Even if they are like people you know in real life. So it's your profile. You decide who you want to add as a friend. You decide who you want to decline as a friend. And you also decide like what groups to join and what groups to avoid. And this can be trial and error, because certain groups you might think, oh, this will be like a great group for me, and it might actually be filled with toxic people. They might even label themselves a certain way where you think, oh, I'll just like fit in here, and really not. But, you know, so leaving those groups and not joining them in the first place, and then like not adding or unfriending people who are toxic and who are trolls, and soon you will have a profile filled with people who appreciate you and appreciate how you can help them, what you do. Now, I had a lot of people initially who were like anti-business and who were against me monetizing my skill sets, and so those are not people to have either. If you're in business, you don't need those people on your profile either, because that's not going to help you. It's fine if they don't buy your thing, but it's not fine when they're on there like trolling and making negative comments, and so you don't need that. There's so many other people who will support you, who are interested in what you do, who want to find out more. So that is my like first tip, is curate your audience. Especially on Facebook, it's very easy to do. And my second tip is actually more of a mindset tip or a spiritual development tip. A lot of times, even though we're very intuitive and very spiritual, and we know we're all one with the universe and all of that stuff, sometimes we get into, I want to say, human being mode, where like you forget your spiritual development and you're kind of thinking of it like from a 3D human being. I only have one life. I don't believe in reincarnation, all that kind of stuff, because you might be picking it up from like people around you and stuff, even though it's not true. But the thing is to remember that you're not just a human being, or you're a spiritual being in a human body, not like a human being trying to be spiritual. And so when you remember who you really are, it makes a lot of the fears, the worries, like all that kind of stuff go away, because you're no longer focused on this trying to do the human thing part. Because you're focused on who you really are. So those are like my main 2 tips. I'll see how this goes. If there's comments on this, maybe I'll address some of those later. But I just really wanted to do this live today. And yes, I am dressed up as a cat. I thought it would be fun to do like for Halloween. And also to remind you that, cats are great familiars for witches, because they're so independent and they have their own opinions and all of those things. So have a great rest of your day and keep networking.